Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rage, and we are back today to break down the kit of LILANDRA, as well as what I personally recommend in terms of her upgrades, respectively. Now, remember, LILANDRA is part of the... Oh, shit, I've had this slotted in, but she is part of the STARJAMMERS Crucible team, right? But she's going to have a very, very important role because of the fact that she is actually part of the Age of X direct unlock here for Charles Xavier himself. So remember, this Starjammer team consists of Groot, Howard the Duck, Rocket Raccoon, as well as Havoc, who's also getting introduced this week as well. So just good to be mindful of that. Out of all these characters, though, obviously, LILANDRA is the most enticing because, as you'll see when we break down the kit and take a look at the details, she's going to be giving a lot of protection to this team and playing a very important role in obviously the unlock. And also, because we have the race to 105 right now, this is a really good investment if you want to build her up beyond that, because we now know, because of the requirements for Charles himself, we know we're going to need her at gear tier 20, and as well as, obviously level 105 maxed out and so forth, especially with her being in that final stage against Dark Charles himself. So, we're going to take a look at her kit. We're going to take a look at some T4 upgrades of what I personally recommend, as well as the ISO-8, which is kind of already given away here, but I'll talk about that real briefly when we go through kind of what's happening with her mechanic and how she ultimately plays in, obviously, in the big picture here. So, Royal Strike, basic ability. What is she doing with this ability? Well, she's essentially attacking the primary target for percentage damage in addition to applying offense down. What's really cool though is that you'll see later on she has a mechanic that actually summon Gladiator, and if Gladiator is an ally, she's always going to be applying this assist now mechanic to the random Gladiator. Also, important to note, remember this is applicable to this entire team as well, but if the primary target does have a barrier, she's going to be gaining deflect. In Crucible, she's also going to be applying deflect to herself and all allies. So what is important to note here is that if you have T4s to spare, like myself right now, by T4ing this, you're actually allowing the ability to be a little stronger, but the offense down actually also lasting for 2 full turns. I think this is definitely a worthy upgrade because that offense down can be that damage mitigation that you apply across the board, and as well, obviously, on the enemy that we're up against. So it's a good one, but would I prioritize it over the other abilities? We'll talk about that real briefly. This is one definitely that's more of a luxury kind of upgrade. Her special Shire Assault. So with this one, she's going to be clearing all the barrier on enemies. She's going to be attacking primary target for percentage damage in addition to applying defense down and slow. So a bunch of debuffs across the board. She also does rebound chain to 3 adjacent targets, which is nice because she can do a little bit more extra damage even though she is in that protector role. Applying offense down once again, similar to the basic. This one also does have a heal block and also possesses a barrier that she gives herself. 20% of her max HP is going to be allocated, and then this is where that synergy of the Starjammers does come in, right? If Groot's an ally, she's going to be applying regen for 2 turns and 2 taunts, up to a maximum of 3 to a random Groot, which gives us, once again, that natural protection. Counterattack does break this chain, but when she does have 3 or more Starjammers, this attack cannot be counterattacked, and as you level this ability up, all those debuffs do get applied. The slows the defense down. Level 6 is a good place to stop. Level 7, you only get an additional extra output of damage here, in addition to rebound chaining the 4 adjacent targets. So that's why I was like, if you have the luxury T4s, the basic and the special are pretty optional in my opinion. It's the ultimate and the passive are probably going to make the most sense. But again, because we know we need her for Charles, we know we need her built up as high as possible, it's very likely that, it makes sense to just upgrade everything across the board for her. And I would say that's a safe investment. But for those of you that are more limited in T4s and not as, saving or conserving as much as I am, by all means, I think fully upgrading her to the max does make sense as well. We have Imperial Reign as her ultimate. So, important to note here, this is going to be the trauma-inflicting ability, right? But only applying in Crucible. So, let's take a look from the beginning. So, she clears all barrier on all enemies, right? If she does have 3 or more Starjammers, she also clears all the positives on each enemy. So, a pretty powerful ultimate ability, to say the least. Attacking all enemies for percent damage. She does also a bonus attack on all the enemies 2 times for 200% damage. So, that's where that extra Raider ISO-8 is going to kick in, as well as applying the vulnerables, right? So, in Crucible, she's also going to be applying trauma, as I noted. On kill, she clears all the negative effects on herself and as well on Starjammer allies. In addition to that, applying immunity and safeguard for herself and the Starjammer allies for 2 full turns. It's unavoidable and can't be counterattacked or blocked. So a very, very powerful ability, to say the least. As you level it up, it adds the additional outputs, but level 6 is nice because this is where you're going to be granting that immunity and safeguard on kill, which is why I think this is probably the biggest reason you would want her to be at a Raider ISO-8, because you want to ensure that you're consistently getting this, right? Obviously, you can use her as a striker as well. That striker could have more component, but I think the fact that she's already applying abilities across the board, across multiple enemies, you can apply the vulnerable for additional damage, so that way when you leverage your allies, they can also be performing additional damage. And on top of that, she gains the immunity and safeguard to the team if she's able to actually land the kill. So you really want to maximize the potential output of damage that she has on her, so that way this ability does scale and obviously kick in, right? But icing on the cake, in Crucible is when she actually does apply trauma to all enemies on each attack, guys. Pretty notable here for the ultimate. So that's why, you know, very, very important to get this upgrade, especially if you're using a Crucible. I suspect that in the future, we do have another legendary event where Crucible bonus effect is impacted, kind of similar to what we're seeing right now in the Shadow King Trials. Well, this is going to be a very, very important ability to have, guys. So yeah, upgrade the ultimate, upgrade the passive. I think they're going to be very important for her kit overall. And then again, the basic and the special, more of that optional kind of cherry on top. Okay, last but not least, Galactic Queen is her passive. So the first time she drops below 50%, she's going to be summoning a gladiator. You know, just so happens to be one of the tankiest, one of the best defenders in the game. So it's pretty notable that a protector is doing that already in her position. Basically, gladiator is her personal bodyguard, right? So on any turn, if she does not have exhaust, she's going to be flipping all vulnerables on herself and all Starjammer allies to regen. So pretty notable. So vulnerables aren't going to be really impacting this team that much, especially on her turn. On enemy turn, if that enemy also has barrier, she's going to be applying offense down up to maximum of 3 times. So obviously working against those folks that already have the barrier, it actually is detrimental now to them. In Crucible, enemy cosmic protectors cannot gain taunt, so targeting those specific ones. In Crucible, if this character has 4 or more Starjammer allies, enemies cannot gain speed up, and this character and all Starjammer allies cannot gain slow. So it means they can only really get impacted by anything with turn manipulation, but there's other characters on the team that can do something on that as well. So yeah, guys, there you have it. And then with the T4 upgrade here, if you were going to do it, you can see I already done it, right? On any turn, if this character does not have the exhaust, this is where she flips all the vulnerable and all Starjammer allies to regen. So it's pretty noble, guys. It just ensures that basically vulnerables do not impact this team, which is very, very impactful, not just in Crucible, but also in all the game modes that you'd be using Lilandra. In this case, I'm thinking, obviously, for the unlock of Charles himself here. So there you guys have it, guys. Full breakdown of her kit. Remember, she is going to be available up to 7 yellow stars, up to 7 red, completely free to play, which is very, very notable. It's a nice little subtle change that they've made in terms of the release. But remember too, that's why we need to be engaged. That's why we need to capitalize on every opportunity that we have with Lilandra. And last but not least, as I touched on earlier across the kit with the breakdowns and whatnot, I think the Raider ISO-8 makes the most sense on her, because it's going to be stacking the vulnerables. It's going to be applying it across the board to multiple enemies. Striker could also make sense too if you want to do that output, but I think from a mass damage output, this is going to be doing more, and obviously ensuring then that giving that higher probability of the ultimate lasting and using the immunity and safeguard as that kill mechanic if it can land, right? So keep that in mind too. The stronger Lilandra you have, the more likely this ultimate's going to land. But do let me know what you think, comments below. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.